boxing.
We gotta
Jorge
jump into this one.
versus Nate Diaz 2 is in the works, and I'm not that hyped, guys. I don't give a shit about this fight, really.
See, I do. I do. I'll tell you why. You know, Jorge Masvidal fighting Kamaru Usman, short notice, okay?
Yeah.
And I get that, and I understand that. But Jorge Masvidal, I felt, kind of started getting tired in rounds 4 and 5. I'm not saying gassed.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not saying gassed.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying it was egregious by any stretch of the imagination. He also had, a week to, I mean, even though he was in training camp, let's not kid ourselves. But, you know, he had a week to prep, and then he had to fly to Abu Dhabi. There's a lot of circumstances.
And he had to cut 20 pounds.
And he had to cut 20 pounds. There's a lot of variables that go into a situation like that. And so I understand that, and I have some grace for that. But man, that is when Nate Diaz is at his best. That's when the Diaz brothers, period, are at their best, is round 4 and 5. And I really wanted to see, I'm not saying the outcome would have been any different. I'm not saying that. But it's still something I wanted to see. Because I do believe, you know, Jorge Masvidal has the capability to go out there and piece him up for 3 rounds. But Nate Diaz is going to make that shit interesting in rounds 4 and 5. Like, he just is. And I think it's something we wanted to see, and I think it's something we deserve to see. And nothing was more infuriating to me than to fight for the BMF belt and then to have a doctor call it off.
Yeah.
It's the BMF belt.
Yeah.
Like, the literal name of that belt is baddest motherfucker, yet it was a doctor stoppage on an eyebrow cut. And to know,
it was tragic.
To know, like, bad on Nate Diaz or Jorge Masvidal, they had nothing to do with that. But it's just like, I mean, well, I guess Jorge did. He was a guy punching him. But, you know, so for me, like, I do want to see this again, and I like it. I like this. This is what I want to see a Jorge Masvidal do, because he's not going to fight for the belt right away, and Nate Diaz is one of those big-name guys. These are what, like, belts like this, like the BMF belt, is for.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, like, and that's what the UFC needs to do. They need to separate the number one contenders with these fun little, like, super fights that we can do. And I do feel like this is a super fight. So I am excited for it, because it's not for a world title. If this were for a world title, it'd be a different story. I'd be pissed about it, but it's not.
I'm just, like, the whole time, like, I really didn't want to even mention him in this episode, but it's like he's in the back of my head the whole time when I think it is like, what happened to the Conor McGregor fight? Because that's the fight we all wanted, was George Masvidal and Conor McGregor already. Or Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz too. Like, what is going on with it? Like, I don't believe this bullshit that he's retired.
No,
They've got to be talking in the
not.
background. They're definitely negotiating.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
what's happening?
Right.
They're really going to go all of 2020 with no Conor fight? I mean, other than the Cowboy fight in the year, like, why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, it seemed like that was the obvious moneymaker, but this is the next best, I guess.
Yeah, this is the next best that you can do, and who knows? Who knows with Conor? Like, it's one of those things, man.
I don't believe he's retired. I think there's definitely negotiations going on.
I think that's what it is. I think Conor just wants. I mean, think about this, okay? Jorge Masvidal, contract negotiations fell through the first time with that Usman fight. He wants to get paid, and he's a big star. We saw the pay-per-view numbers. He deserves to get paid because he brings in the eyeballs, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not debating that. We've seen it. We've seen the evidence of that. But so does Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
But both of them want a big piece of the pie. That's why I think that fight will actually be really hard to make, because both those guys want to get paid for that fight. And really, you know, when you're talking about the UFC and stuff.
Yeah, but
like,
when you're talking biggest fight of all time now, because that's what it is.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
I think it is. I think it's bigger than Nate Diaz, Conor 2, which is, I think, number 1 pay-per-view buys, right?
Right. Well, yeah, probably.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that beats it by a million, at least. I mean, what, 2
it's
million
huge.
buys? Or what was it, 2 million buys or 1.5 million buys
Question,
for
though.
the Usman fight? Like, that was insane.
Here's a hypothetical for you. Do you think Conor McGregor, because he is the businessman that he is, Jorge Masvidal is coming off a loss, and whether or not it's on a 9-day notice, I don't believe stock has gone down very much, but it does slightly go down when you lose to the champ, even though you only had a 7-9-day notice, whatever it was, okay? But if Jorge Masvidal goes out there and defends his BMF belt, who is the next guy in line? How does that fight not sell even more with Jorge Masvidal coming off a win? Here's the thing, too.
It's got to be attendance.
Yes, and check this out. Whoever wins that fight, Conor McGregor's fighting next, because he gets it set up perfect. I think Conor is doing the business thing. And God, Connor, who cares?
I know, exactly.
But he's not fighting for a world champion, so I'm willing to talk about it, and I'm willing to kind of break this whole thing down. It is a win-win scenario for Conor McGregor. Jorge Masvidal wins. He gets to fight in the biggest super fight of all time for the BMF belt. If Nate Diaz wins, he gets to fight for the BMF belt for the trilogy, which will still be the greatest, or not the greatest, but the biggest fight of all time. It is a win-win for Conor McGregor. He wants to see these two duke it out, and I really believe Conor will fight the winner of this.
Yeah, I guess it just comes down to I just don't want to see this fight again. Like I said earlier, I just don't care for it, dude. I really think George fucks him up again for 5 rounds. If it has to be 5 rounds, it's gonna be 5 rounds.
Okay, so this is hypothetical.
He's that much better.
Will you take this fight in order to get the winner to fight Conor McGregor? Are you willing to do that?
Yes, but I mean, it's like, is Conor the goal? Is Conor? Oh, I guess
Absolutely.
he always
Conor
is. He's always been the goal.
Conor is always the goal, especially for fighters like Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal that may never get another title shot. I mean, Jorge might, but he might not either.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, what's the perfect scenario? These guys, all 3 of them, fight each other for a couple more years, and then boom, they're all fucking millionaires, making a lot of money, having a good old time, and it helps Conor McGregor's legacy. I mean, technically, and come on, technically, Conor won 3 belts. If he does win the BMF belt, you know, he can say he was the featherweight champ, he was the lightweight champ, and you know, the BMF belt, and the BMF champ. So it's a win-win for him. You know, I feel in a lot of ways.